Friendship is 1,000 times more precious than love. It seems to me that I am in no degree made up for passion. I find something a bit ridiculous in love. I have made up my mind to renounce it forever. Voltaire. What's up, people of this weird planet called Earth? Welcome to episode 45 of History's Most Influential Humans podcast. I'm your humble host, Larry Mapa. Today we'll be learning about a man that wrote more than 2,000 books and pamphlets and more than 20,000 letters in his 83 years on this earth that has caused influence in the whole world. His popular name is Voltaire. Born on the 21st November 1694, he was the youngest of 5 children. He was educated by the Jesuits at the College Louis le Grand from 1704 to 1711, where he was taught Latin, theology, and rhetoric. And later in life, he became fluent in Italian, Spanish, and English. Wow. Upon leaving school, Voltaire decided he wanted to become a writer against his father's wish, who wanted him to become a lawyer, which is like a cliche. He later pretended to work in Paris as an assistant to a notary, someone authorized to perform certain legal formalities. But in reality, he was actually spending much time writing poetry. And when his father found out, he sent him to study law in Sian, Normandy. But that never stopped him from writing. The writing that put him in trouble several times, but in the end, brought him numerous successes. In 1713, his father got him a job as a secretary to the new French ambassador in the Netherlands, where he fell in love with a French Protestant refugee named Catherine. This was considered scandalous, and he was forced to return to France by the end of the year. Throughout Voltaire's life, he had troubles with a lot of people, and also the government, due to his personality, but especially due to his writing. As a result, he was jailed twice and once sentenced to exile in England, where he learned about their freedom of expression and religious tolerance at the time, which he went back to preach in France. And yeah, that was not a good idea. After a series of events and an 11-month prison sentencing to Bastille because he accused a duke of incest, he returned to France in 1718. He then started to write different plays, some successful and others not so much. The first of these plays, which was produced, is Oedipe, which was a success. In 1726, at a performance in the Comédie Française, Voltaire got into a word fight with someone named Rohan, who insulted him first, but the counter insult that Voltaire gave got him beaten by people Rohan sent. Voltaire then challenged Rohan to a physical duel, and this challenge earned him another prison visit to Bastille. But this was when he used his influence to change the imprisonment in Bastille to an exile in England. After an amazing experience in England, he was permitted to return to France in 1728, after which he published and produced different plays, including some imitations of Shakespeare's works. One of the most successful ones was Zaire, which was published in 1732. During Voltaire's stay in England, he wrote some 24 philosophical letters of the English and published them when he went back to France. But unfortunately for him, this was another bad idea and put him in more trouble. So in order to escape another imprisonment, Voltaire sought refuge with his mistress, Emily, somewhere away from where he formerly was. In this new place, him and his mistress collected 21,000 books and performed many scientific experiments, including an attempt to determine the nature of fire. Interesting. He had another mistress in 1744, which was his niece and most possibly the last one. But he never had a wife nor children throughout his lifetime. On the invitation of Frederick the Great, the Prussian king at the time, Voltaire moved to Prussia in 1750 after the death of his mistress, Emily, at childbirth for him in 1749, and a brief visit to Paris. In Prussia, he was made a chamberlain in the household, appointed to the Order of Merit, and placed on salary. Wow. But this didn't last too long. In March 1752 to 1754, he left Prussia again for his home country, France. And upon reaching France, they accused him of being a spy of the Prussian. Thus, he was denied entry and ended up finding his square root. To where? To Geneva, Switzerland, where he later left to settle in Ferney, France, as he had been banned from most places already in France. Early in 1759, Voltaire completed and published his fictional book, Candide, which is said to have been the most successful and read till today. He based in Ferney for most of the remaining of his lifetime. In 1764, he published one of his best philosophical works, the Dictionnaire philosophique, a series of articles mainly on Christian history and dogmas, a few of which were originally written in Berlin. Both Candide and Dictionnaire philosophique were banned in France at the time, by the way, which isn't actually surprising. Well, until after his death, by the way. In February 1778, Voltaire returned to Paris for the first time in more than 25 years to watch the opening of his produced tragedy, Irene. He actually didn't believe he'd survive the 5-day journey, believing he would die on 28 February 1778. As he wrote, "I die adoring God, loving my friends, not hating my enemies, and detesting superstition." After watching his tragedy, Irene, in March, he was treated by the audience as a returning hero. After numerous years of persecution upon persecution, imprisonment upon imprisonment, exile upon exile, and so on. But as every man will, as everyone will, Voltaire died on 30th May 1778, aged 83. Although Voltaire was denied a Christian burial in Paris at the time of his death, he was secretly buried at the Abbey of Celeris in Champagne, and on 11th July 1791, the National Assembly of France, regarding Voltaire as a forerunner of the French Revolution, had his remains brought back to Paris and enshrined in the Pantheon, a mausoleum in Paris for the most distinguished French people. How interesting. But that's it on episode 45 of HMIH Podcast. Thank you so much for listening this far, and I hope you learned a lot and were entertained too. Please follow us on our social media handle at Damilare_Mapper, DAMILARE_MAPPER on all our social media. Like, subscribe if you are watching on YouTube, and kindly drop a feedback. We'd really appreciate it. See you all on another episode of History's Most Influential Humans Podcast in the month of July, by God's grace. Damilare Mapper out.